All right. Well, I got this question posted in the office hours forum. It says for the case research assignment, what do you mean by what markets would be affected? If you look at the assignment and basically what you are needing to do is find an event, a news event that is going to impact markets. And remember, an impact on a market is either the demand curve is shifting or the supply curve is shifting. Okay, one of those two things has to happen for a market to change, right? Demand shifts, supply shifts. That is what it means for a market to change. So what you need to do then is discuss these market shifters, what markets may be impacted, and then graph those. Okay. So to help here, try to give an example. I was just I don't know if you've heard the news, but the governor here in Minnesota, Walz, is extending the stay-at-home order to May 4th. So the stay-at-home order has been extended, meaning restaurants, bars are going to remain closed as they have been. So that would be an event I am going to use. That is my event. And this is not just in our state, but this is all over the country, that local governments are telling their people to stay at home. So what impact is this event going to have on markets? That's what you need to look at. So I went out and said, okay, what can I find? What can I see that is going to illustrate how this event impacts different markets? So I went and looked at the local newspaper, and these are some of the things that I found. So in the Star Tribune, I saw, excuse me, with restaurants closed, a bacon backup is building in Minnesota, and hog prices are plunging. So you have here a couple markets. So you could do the actual market for bacon. You could do the market for hogs and hog prices. So if I look at bacon and the impact on that market, okay, let's go down and read the article here for a bit. It says bacon is routinely on sale in Minnesota grocery stores these days as the shutdown of restaurants is creating an oversupply in the food chain. So what you've got going on essentially is, with no restaurants being open and they're not needing their same amount, we're seeing a decrease, right, in the demand for bacon, because restaurants just don't need to put it on sandwiches or in their omelets or whatever they're making. Right? Hog prices, you could go, this is kind of the extension of that market. What's going to be happening there? Well, obviously, hog prices and kind of an input to make bacon, can't have one without the other. So this would be kind of a demand change, right? Demand change for hogs. Those that are processing bacon, meat plants shutting down, not working, not putting out as much. Right? So you're going to see a change in the demand curve for hog prices. Okay? That would be an example of one market. I looked a little further. I saw GM, Ford, and Chrysler are involved in survival mode. So I read this article a little bit. And as I got into it, it says this month fewer cars will be built in the United States than any other time since World War II. It says auto production has ground to a near total halt because of the coronavirus outbreak. And if you read this here, it says, first and foremost, the shelter-in-place orders have created an environment where there are going to be very few sales going on in much of April into May. It says consumer confidence has been so shell-shocked that any discretionary purchases will be delayed. So here you can obviously change in consumers' expectations of the future. So if you go back here, you can do another market. So this would be the auto market. Going to see a huge decrease in demand, and there are talked about fewer cars made than at this time than any other point since World War II. Well, the model will show that here, right? Quantity supplied is decreasing, but this is due to a huge decrease in consumer demand, right? Prices are falling. In the article, if you read a little bit more, customers aren't buying nearly as many new cars despite attractive offers from automakers. That line right there is saying that cars are becoming cheaper. Interest-free, 7-year loans, 6 months of no payments. That's another way of saying, hey, this car is cheaper to buy than it was a month ago, right? So that is what you are illustrating, right, with this graph. So there's another market, auto market, bacon market. I looked at orange juice here. On this article, orange juice sales are soaring during the pandemic. It says American consumers have been stocking up on staples as the coronavirus pandemic spreads, giving one struggling beverage a much needed boost. Says sales of numbers of different staples have skyrocketed as U.S. shoppers instructed to stay at home are stocking up their fridges and pantries. Orange juice is a particular go-to when people get sick or afraid that they might. So here you go. You've got the market for orange juice. Okay, another market. Okay. And here we're seeing the demand curve, right, shift to the right. Now you're going to talk about why, right? Change in consumers' attitudes, expectations of the future, increase in market size, right? People are staying home, they're stocking up fridges. And again, orange juice, when you maybe worried you might be getting sick or could be, this is something that consumers feel that they want to have on hand. Okay, so hopefully this is kind of helping you see what I'm talking about how different markets are being impacted. Another one I found was despite coronavirus, Sherwin-Williams expects a sales increase in the first quarter. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with what Sherwin-Williams produces or sells, but they are a paint store. And you start thinking, well, why would Sherwin-Williams, when just about every other industry is seeing a decrease in demand, like orange juice, Sherwin-Williams, which is selling paint, is seeing a huge increase in sales. And it makes sense that you've got probably a change in market size. You have a lot more consumers that are at home with time on their hands. They're not maybe working, and now we can paint the spare bedroom or paint the basement. Have time to get those jobs done. So increase in demand due to market size. And on down the list, I could go on here. McDonald's sales have plunged because of coronavirus. So the stay-at-home order, restaurants are not open. Okay, sales in American restaurants have fallen 13%. So you're just looking for all the ways that this stay-at-home order, and that was my event, okay, that I chose, a stay-at-home event, impacts various markets. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I could do another 6 or 7. So that's what I'm asking or having you do, and what I mean by explaining the impact on markets. Hope that helps, and makes sense. Let me know if you have more questions.